spring is upon us. This book was not on my radar. Their fake engagement. Everyone loves this book. I'm so excited. Body goosebumps. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I thought I'd just sit down and talk you through some of the books I'm really excited to read in the next couple of months. We are slowly, well, I'm going to say slowly, very quickly coming up to the end of the first quarter of the year, which is crazy. It means winter is officially over and spring is upon us. So I'm ready to read all those romances, not like I don't do that in the winter anyway, but to read more romances I'm very, very excited for. I've been filming a lot on my lunch break today, but I'll say it one more time. If you haven't been following my channel for the last couple of months, you will not know that I've recently hit a slump and I've been trying and forcing myself, trying to get out of it, and I think I'm officially out of it because of a romance I just picked up. And I won't go into it because I'm doing a whole reading vlog, but I am currently reading Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, which if you don't think shouts spring, I have no idea what does, because all of the flowers, the pink, the romance, it's such a spring book. And it's made me think about what other books I would like to read during the spring seasons of the end of March, April and May. Technically, spring ends on June 20th, which will come into more of a role in this video when I get to the anticipated releases that I have for spring. But I'm just kind of like talking about my physical TBR right now, which books I want to try and prioritise over the next couple of months from my physical TBR. I have recently just done a massive book spree and there are some books I'm super excited to get to that I've only just hauled. If you want to see that video of me picking out those books, then I'll link it up above and down below. But it was a very fun video to film and I spent a lot of money and brought a lot of books. So my physical TBR is nicely refreshed, ready for the spring, shall we say. I've listed out 5 that I really want to get to during spring. I'm kind of hoping that happens, but you never know when it comes to creating content and what the TBR gods kind of have in store for you. And then after we've done the books I want to read off my physical TBR, we'll go through the books that I'm anticipating in the spring months. So end of March, April, May, June, being technical in when spring actually falls, and then also some rereads that I'd like to do this time of year as well. So without further ado, let's hop into the books for my physical TBR that I'd like to get to ASAP. The first one is just because it shouts spring in terms of the cover and the colours, and I tried to kind of like create a spring stack with these books, so we'll see how well I did at the end. But the first book I'll try and like to get to is The Lock-In by Phoebe Luckhurst. Once again, this book just shouts spring to me because of the cover and the colours, very like tealy, pastel green with some pinks, and it just really shouts spring. And this book has been on my TBR, I want to say for almost 2 years, because I think Emily got this as a birthday present in 2022. So it's been on my TBR for a while. I need to get around to it. There's no better reason than to try and read it in spring because the cover is pretty. So that's what we're going for, aesthetics. But the hardback shouts spring as well. It's just such a pretty book. I've been interested in reading this book for years, and that is no exaggeration because I was excited for this book before it came out. And this book basically follows 6 friends who get locked in their attic in their shared flat when their kitchen starts to flood. And I was instantly hooked by just that tagline, and I tried to read it as an ebook when it first came out and I couldn't get into it, but I'm not a massive e-reader fan. If you know me, you know. So when I put it on my wish list, Emily kind of gifted it to me for my birthday, like I said, in 2022, and I still haven't read it yet. And it says, you've heard of a locked room mystery. Now get ready for a locked room rom-com. And Emma Gannon, if you... Lots of if you didn't know is in this video. Emma Gannon, if you didn't know, wrote my favourite book of all time, Olive. And she has blurbed this book, so like, I have to take her recommendation, no? And she says, entertaining, endearing and truly unique. Found myself wincing and laughing with familiarity. And yeah, this is the first book on my priority spring TBR list because I need to get around to it sooner rather than later, and there's no better excuse to read it than for the aesthetics. I just want to shout out the only fantasy that's made this list because of the cover once again. Like I said, I tried to go for like a spring colour looking stack, and I've been wanting to read this book for this entire year so far. I know we're only in the end of March, but that's 3 months, and for me that's a long time. And that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Everyone loves this book. I want to know what the hype is about. I have read all of Caraval. I've read Caraval, Legendary and Finale, ready to go into this new series. I am a little apprehensive because it follows the character in the last book, Jax, who is one of the Fates within the deck of cards in this world. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If you don't, go read rereads and get yourself up to date. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm apprehensive, because I don't love Jax as a main character. I didn't really love him in finale, but I'm ready to give this series a go. Apparently it's better. There's a lot of kind of like debate on which one's better, but I hear the majority prefer this series, and I'm really excited to get into it. Once again, I picked it out because it was pink spring, had to go. I've heard it's such a fairy tale kind of like whimsically written story. It just kind of shouts spring to me. And I thought I would put a fantasy on my Spring TBR, otherwise it's just all going to be rom-coms and romances. So yeah, this one is also on my Spring TBR. I'm really hoping I can get around to it in the next month or so, fingers crossed. The next two are part of a series, so hopefully spring can be a time that I can finish another series this year, which would be so good for me, and that is X's and O's by Amy Lee and The Catch by Amy Lee. I've only just recently got this one, and it shouts spring once again because of the colour, and I can't read this one without reading this one, so I put both of them on my Spring TBR. This book series, the first one being Set On You, is Amy Lee's influencer series. Set On You follows a fitness influencer. The second book, X and O's, follows a bookstagrammer, which is why this book has kind of like taken online book community by storm, because it follows a bookstagrammer and a book influencer. And then the last one, The Catch, that has just come out, follows a fashion influencer. So I love Amy Lee's writing style. I really enjoyed Set On You for her writing style, but I just wasn't massively like loving or invested in the romance and the characters. So I'm really hoping better things for these two, especially because of the connection that everyone who reads this book might have because of the online book community. So I'm really excited to get to this one, and this one is at a fishing town in Canada. So I don't know if it shouts spring in terms of plot, but they shout spring in terms of the covers. And once again, I went for aesthetics. So far our Spring TBR is looking very spring-like, if I do say so myself, because I planned it that way. X's and O's basically follows our bookstagrammer called Tara, who has had her heart broken 10 times by 10 different men. Nevertheless, she is still determined to find her perfect match. The only problem, Tara is a romance novel obsessive, and her standards are sky high. Aren't they all? Aren't we all? Just, we always want those fictional boyfriends, and Mark is an exception, but they are hard to come by. Modern dating apps have killed the meet cute, so Tara decides to revisit her exes in the hope of finding her very own trick-worthy second chance romance. And yeah, I'm just really excited for this one just because of how bookish it is. And then The Catch follows Melanie, who finds herself in a rural fishing village on the east coast of Canada. The only thing scarier than nature itself, burly fisherman Evan, who single-handedly disapproves the theory that Canadians are nice. After a boating incident lands Evan in hospital, Mel is mistaken for his fiancée by his welcoming yet quirky family, and in exchange for Evan's help with his social media content, Mel agrees to take their fake engagement for just 1 week. I did not know this book had fake dating in it. And if you know me, fake dating is my favourite book trope. So yes. Okay, I'm even more excited to read this one. I'm so excited. Okay, so 2 more books onto my Spring TBR. And the last book on my Spring TBR, once again, for aesthetic reasons, and also I'm just really excited to get to it. Less of a fluffy, cute romance, but still a romance nevertheless, and that is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. And this is kindly gifted to me from Claire, so thank you very much, Claire. Hopefully I can get to it soon and let you know what I think of it. But this is an adult romance that basically follows a second chance romance, kind of. It follows a husband and wife who have done everything to try and keep their relationship thriving, but they end up getting divorced. But they're trying to navigate looking after their young family, their 2 kids, and a thriving business while also getting divorced. Yet, like magnets, they're always drawn back to each other, and now they're beginning to wonder if they truly were ready to let go of everything they once had. One stolen kiss leads to another, and then more. It's hot, it's idyllic, it's good, until it starts to hurt again. As old wounds reopen, Yasmin and Josiah wonder if it's too late for them to find forever, or could they even be better the second time round. So I'm really excited to get this one. I've heard incredible things about it, and I just thought I'd go for a less fluffy romance, but more of a heartwarming, adult, mature romance as well. So those are the 5 books from my physical TBR that I'd like to prioritise in the end of March, April, May, early June kind of months coming up. I'm really excited to get to all of them, especially now The Catch thinks it has fake dating in it. So if you didn't know that and you also love fake dating, go down to the works and get it for a £5 before it's too late. And it's one of the books that I recently got in my book shopping video, so go check it out up above. And then the next segment of this video, so the next segment is going to be the anticipated releases that I have for the spring months, and this is where technicalities don't kind of align, because there's one book that is my most anticipated release of this year, like not even just in spring, but the entire year, and that is Ashley Poston's brand new book. It comes out on June 25th, and I've done some Googling, and spring ends on June 20th. So let me have this one. It's 5 days out, so technically it comes out in the summer, but I don't care. I'm so excited for it. I just wanted to have a little moment to talk about it. So that is the most anticipated release I have this entire year, and it's coming out in the next couple of months, and I'm so excited for it. Like, it's on pre-order. I'm ready to sit down, have a free weekend, and just binge it, because I actually absolutely love Ashley Poston. The last 2 books that she's released, The Dead Romantics and The 7-Year Slip, have both been 5 stars, and my top 2 books of last year. So with that being said, my anticipated releases for the spring, going in chronological order. The first one is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. This one comes out on April 2nd, so not long to wait, only a couple of weeks. This one is also on pre-order for me because I absolutely love Holly Jackson's works, books, series, writing, you name it, I love it. I have read all of her books. I want to say all of her books, which is pretty much an accomplishment. I read the entire Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, as well as the spin-off, The Kill Order, The Kill Dinner, The Killjoy, which is the Short World Book Day book that she released a couple of years ago as part of that series, and that book is good. So if you're reading that series and you're like, do I really need to read it? Yes, read Killjoy. It's really, really good. It really adds to the overall story. So I've read all of that series, and I've also read 5 Survive, so I'm really excited to read her latest release, The Reappearance of Rachel Price. All I know is that it's a YA mystery thriller, just like Holly Jackson has done in the past. 5 Survive wasn't my favourite, and I have heard that The Reappearance of Rachel Price goes back to her roots and is very much more similar to the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, which I'm really excited for. It basically follows our main character when her mum disappears, and Belle is our main character, who's the daughter, and she's trying to move on. Like, it's a really difficult time, and she's really trying to move on. And then when the rest of her family agree to take part in a true crime documentary series, it starts to bring back up all the past, and Rachel Price, the mother, reappears. So it's all about that and what goes on and all that fun stuff, and it sounds really, really good. Not very much a spring book in terms of like what I've just shown, but maybe something different, maybe like a palette cleanser between all the romances that I'm going to read this spring. The next one that is also out on April 2nd is another romance, and this book was not on my radar until I started researching for this video, because I was like, I'm just going to check the anticipated releases for the next couple of months just in case I've missed anything, and this book was not on my radar because I haven't read anything from this author until now, and that is Sarah Adams' brand new book, which is why I spoke about the book I'm currently reading at the beginning of this video, because I didn't know I loved Sarah Adams' writing until literally yesterday evening when I started this book, and she has a new book coming out in April. It's called The Rule Book. I don't really know what it's about, so I'm just going to read you the blurb that's on Goodreads, and it basically says college sweethearts meet again years later in this highly anticipated romance companion story to the viral TikTok sensation The Cheat Sheet. Okay, I haven't read the cheat sheet, but I really feel like most of the time you don't need to read companion books in the order that they are released. Sometimes you do, sometimes you can really benefit from getting the world and the world evolving from the first book. There's definitely a series I have in mind that does that, and that is the Sweet Mess trilogy, which is a companion series. You don't need to read them in order, but you definitely get the benefit when you read the last book of having read 2 books previous in that trilogy in order, if that makes sense. But most of the time you don't need to bother. So I haven't read the cheat sheet, but I'm very excited for this one nevertheless, after my new 24-hour obsession with Sarah Adams, by the way. Like, this is like a 50-page obsession that I have just about how much I love the first 50 pages of the book that I've just started. So let's hold your horses maybe a little bit, but I'm excited nevertheless. And this one basically says, Nora Mackenzie's entire career lies on the hands of famous NFL tight end Derek Pender, who also happens to be her extremely hot ex. Nora didn't end things as gracefully as she could have back then, and now it's come back to haunt her. Derek is her first client as an official full-time sport agent, and he's holding a grudge. Enemies to lovers. So many books enemies to lovers these days, and it's not my favourite trope, but I do sometimes like it. It's very slim, but if it's done right, it's done well. The plan is to make Nora's life absolutely miserable, but if Derek knows anything about the woman he once loved, she won't quit easily. Instead of giving in, Nora starts a scheme of her own. But then a wild night in Vegas leads to Nora and Derek in bed the next morning married, with their rule book out the window. Could this new relationship be the thing to save their careers? Okay, reading that blurb very much sounds like The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest I've just read this month and absolutely loved it, gave it 4.5 stars. So potential for it to be really, really fun, good, fun time. I'm really, really excited. So that's the next book out that I'm excited for. And the final book that I just want to mention once again is the novel Love Story by Ashley Poston that is coming out on June 25th. I don't care what this book is about. It's Ashley Poston, so of course I'm going to read it. But in case you weren't aware of this book, I'm going to give you the blurb from Goodreads. This is why you watch book videos, just so people can regurgitate information that you've probably already read, but hey, we're here. A professor of literature finds herself caught up in a work of fiction, literally. From the New York Best-Selling Times, author of 7 Years Slip and Dead Romantics. Elaine Merriweather, what a beautiful name, loves to get lost in a good happily ever after, the fictional kind anyway, because at least imaginary men don't leave you at the altar. She feels safe in a book at home, which might be why she's so set on going to her annual book club retreat this year. She needs good friends, cheap wine, and grand romantic gestures, no matter what. When her car expectantly breaks down on the way, she finds herself stranded in a quaint town that feels like it's just out of a novel. Because it is. This place can't be real. I'm getting goosebumps. This place can't be real, and yet she's here in Elworton? The town of her favourite romance series, where the candy stores, honey taffy is always sweet, the local bar's burgers are always a little bit burnt, and the rain always comes in the afternoon. I get so excited! It feels like home. It's perfect and perfectly frozen. Trapped in the late author's last unfinished story, Elsie, nickname I'm assuming, is sure that's why she must be here, to help bring the town its storybook ending, except there's a character and she can't place, a grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes and an irritantly sexy mouth and impeccable taste in novels, and he does not want her finishing the book, which is a problem because Elsie's beginning to think the town's happily ever after might be just entwined with her own. Goosebumps, body goosebumps. Can we just take a second? Like, I got tears in my eyes. That, I haven't read the blurb before, I just knew it's Ashley Poston, so I didn't care what the book was about, but oh my god, that sounds incredible. June 25th, can't come soon enough. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to book some time off work just so I can read that book in a day. Okay, I think I've calmed down. But we're not finished with Ashley Poston just yet. The last segment I just wanted to talk to you guys is the books that I want to reread this next couple of months. I love rereading books, but I really haven't prioritised rereading books so far this year, and I really like to get back on that. I've just finished rereading one of my favourite series of all time, which I think is why I've kind of like taken a little bit of a halt on rereading some of my favourite books, because I love rereading my favourite books because I want to tab them up and write in them and make them part of my forever collection, but it is really sad sometimes when you finish reading your favourite books, or you're really worried about rereading your favourite books for the first time because they might not live up to the hype that you have in your head. But two of the books I'd like to reread this springtime, maybe in preparation for Ashley Poston's new book, I don't know, is A 7 Year Slip and A Dead Romantics. I wanted to reread A Dead Romantics last year. I read it for the first time last year and I wanted to reread it last year, but I just didn't get around to it because I kind of fell into a slump at the end of the year. So I never got around to it, but I want to tab it up, write in it, and do all the fun stuff and reread this book because, oh, it's one of my favourite books of all time. And the same with this one. I want to reread it, write in it, tab it up, and just relive the Clementine romance because I can't pick which book is my favourite. I think they are on par. I did vote for this one higher in my best books of 2023 list, but this one was a close second. So I want to reread both of these. If you don't know what they're about, you're living under a rock. I won't describe them, but this is a ghost sort of romance in your unexpectedly untypical way, and this is a time traveling romance. And yeah, both perfection, both you need to read. Highly recommend Ashley Poston. And the last book that I want to reread, and the last book that is officially on my Spring TBR, just because I think this is going to be the perfect book to read, because part of spring is spring cleaning, resetting, and getting ready for the summer months ahead. And this book is very much kind of like encompassing that sort of vibe, and that is rereading Heartbreak House Share by Erin Merrill, one of my favourite books once again. Want to reread it to be part of my forever collection, tab it up and write in it, which I have started. I got 12 pages into rereading this book last year and never got around to finishing it, and I would like to do that. The reason why I say this is very much like the spring cleaning sort of vibe is because it follows our main character Flick, who is ready for a new beginning. Her uni boyfriend just broke up with her and she doesn't really know where life is going to take her, and she ends up moving down to London and sharing a house with 3 other female characters who also don't know what life has to offer them, and they're all trying to figure things out, and it's the perfect story for figuring out your life in your 20s if you're in that situation like most of us are, because of society's pressures. And I highly recommend this book. It has fake dating in it. It has a journalistic column sort of vibe to this book because she's the main character, Flick, is a journalist. It's about female friendship, figuring out your life. It's just tick all my buzzwords, and I absolutely love this book. And yeah, I'm really excited for it. Emily Merritt actually has a brand new book coming out this year, which I'm also excited to read. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it and the release date, but I will put it up on screen with the date so you can get excited for that one as well, along with me, because I'm also excited for that one. Who knows, it could be coming out in the springtime. I think it might be July though. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of niggling in my brain that's July, so not quite yet. But yes, that is the last book I would like to read in the spring months. So just to recap, both Ashley Poston's book and The Hasbrook Heartshare I'd like to reread. The reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson out on April 2nd, as well as The Rule Book by Sarah Adams out on April 2nd. I forgot to mention one book that is coming out. Okay, another book that's coming out quickly, I won't talk about it, is Daydream by Hannah Grace, which is the third book in the Maple Hill series. That is coming out on June 4th, which does count as spring, and then A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, which is coming out June 25th. And then in terms of my physical TBR, we have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, X's and O's by Amy Lee, The Catch by Amy Lee, it's the wrong way around, Rachel, there we go, Once Upon a Broken Heart, and The Lock-In by Phoebe Luckhurst. There's a lot of books that I want to read. I want to read all of them. Of course I want to read all of them. Will I? That's a separate question. Stay tuned to find out, because I'm sure I'll be vlogging my experiences along the way. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a massive thumbs up and subscribe down below to see future content from me. I do anything from reading vlogs, book videos, journaling content. I have it all here on this channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any. Comment down below some sparkle energy, because I seem to be very enthusiastic in this video. Let me know if I've missed any anticipated releases of yours. Let me know them down in the comments. And without further ado, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.